One last match remaining for Group A in the round of 32 of the WCS Premier League Season 3 here in Burbank, California. We're finally at a desk where we're all pretty much the same height, so that's exciting. It looks great on camera. But yeah, we've gone through 4 matches so far. Polt moving on forward. We had a quick chat with him, but no big surprise, right?
No, I mean, Polt comes in. He's one of the most, accomplished players in all of WCS, in all of StarCraft history, to be honest. You can't look at that guy and be like, yeah, he's not going to make it out of the group. That's just absurd.
Yeah, I think most people expected it. And he admitted it himself, like, round of 32, I always play a little bit more rougher game. Had a little bit of trouble against Petraeus, and he said, gave a little bit of a nod to Harstem too. Like, he gave me a run for my money in game number 2, but he moves on forward. So now we're down to 2 players, 1 spot from Group A, moving on to the round of 16. Harstem versus Petraeus. A quick chat, but let's talk about Harstem a little bit, Chris. Is he going to change it up a little bit more here, or do you think we can still expect the same from Harstem? He's still going to go for the 2 base and the Colossus push?
I think he's going to go for like the standard PvZ meta nowadays, where it's just like +2 Blink Stalkers, a little bit of pressure. And then he could always go for Colossus. We're seeing that more and more these days, especially in PvZ, just to kind of mix it up, go back to that old style. But I wouldn't expect anything too crazy. He's a very normal, macro player-oriented player, and I think he's confident against Petraeus as well.
Yeah, Nate, what do you think? How do you think Harstem is going to view that last game against Polt? Because Polt obviously gives him the nod, but at the end of the day, when you're the player on the losing side, right, that kind of result looms over your head.
It's very interesting because I talked to Roddy a good amount about this, and his argument to me was like, Harstem actually likes and prefers to play straight-up games, but a lot of his aggressive builds, I feel, come out of you feel a need to do something when your opponent is favored so heavily against you. I think he can look at this as a much more evenly fielded match, and just because of that, I expect him to play more confidently and without as much aggression in the early game. Yeah,
well, hopefully that we will see that from both players. Of course, Petraeus been surprising everyone with, hey, you know what, I'm still the same old Petraeus. In fact, looking a lot more relaxed, too, on stage. I remember in Toronto, he was looking nervous when he stood on stage. He's like, got to play against all these other legends here at the WCS season finals. But here he is in studio, feeling very comfortable, playing one more match to see if he can continue to the round of 16. Should be a good matchup, ladies and gentlemen. And to some extent, I would say more on the line for Harstem, right? There's been so much hype around Harstem this whole year, and it's become kind of a repeat at this point. Season 2 finals, people were like, can he do it? There's definitely a chance. Fizzled out right there, and then afterwards at Home Story Cup, continuing with that fizzling of the flame. But here he is. If he doesn't make it to the round of 16, I mean, that spells a lot of trouble for how much can really people have faith in the hope that Harstem brings about for the European scene.
I mean, Petraeus is a great player by all means. There are very few non-Korean players that will say anything bad about Petraeus. Very solid, hardworking guy, but he said himself he's not playing as much. He's going back to school. He's not playing as much on the European server against these guys that he would normally practice against all the time. I think that puts a little bit more pressure, honestly, on Harstem because you're now more expected to take the series off the guy who's certainly not putting in the same amount of time as you.
Yeah. At the same time, now he is the man who took the map off of Polt, so that's kind of the running thing for every season, right? Who's going to be the guy to take a game off, a series off of Polt? Right now, Petraeus holds that title going on in Group A. So Harstem, in some ways, I agree with you. There's some extra pressure. At the same time, not an opponent to really scoff at here in Petraeus. Chris, what are your thoughts? How do you think this is going to go? I mean, is Harstem still pretty heavily favored? Or after having seen Petraeus, is it more 50-50 at this point?
Harstem's definitely favored. I talked to Petraeus a little bit in between the last games, and he said himself that he is not confident. I feel like he's not a very confident guy, so I don't know how much that's going to play into this, but at the same time I said, Harstem's like, he's always going to go that +2 Blink Stalker, and all in all, it's just, the maps are pretty standard. I feel like that plays more and more into Harstem's play.
Yeah, we're starting off on Coda again, as we've discussed multiple times today. As standard as you can get here in StarCraft 2. You're giving me a little bit of a grin there, Nate. What's catching your eye on the whole map pool?
I have to ask, Huck, Harstem picked for map 2 Dash and Terminal.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
We're going to see it. It's the only time we'll see it today.
It doesn't make sense either. PvZ, it's not a map I would want to play.
So does he have something special? Is there like a weird Protoss build you can do on Dash and Terminal?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. I mean, maybe those crazy Europeans.
I mean, do you think it's that he has something hidden, or do you think it's just maybe an odd personal comfort pick for Harstem in some weird manner,
right? I honestly think he wants to play this map. I can't remember what map it was in the old ladder pool where you could fly a warp prism to an island behind your base.
Ah, okay. Oh,
do you remember what map that was?
Waystation.
Waystation. And Harstem was like the only Protoss player that felt very comfortable playing that map, PvZ. And he always picked that map, and he always went some kind of Stargate play, got a Warp Prism, built a Nexus. And this is another map where, generally speaking, Protoss always veto it, but maybe Harstem has some interesting strategies.
All right. I mean, hey, at this point, we talked about it earlier against Polt. That was kind of a comfort station for Harstem to pull out something new if he wanted to try it out. But at this point, if he needs to do what it takes to get to the round of 16, he needs to do it now against Petraeus. Last match of Group A to find out who takes the second seed and moves on to the round of 16.
2 men enter into the final round of WCS Day 1. And yes, most likely only one could leave unless there's a series of ties that extended this series so long that we had to, you know, they both won.
Yeah, just both give him a pass to the
It
round
could
of
happen.
32. And then we just say, like, Group B tomorrow, sorry guys, only one player can advance. Three
It's
guys
already
from,
been determined,
three
yeah.
guys from Group A advance, you know, it happens. Well, that's not very likely. As you guys can see, we are loaded into Coda, and we're looking at the main base of the Dutch Protoss himself. It is Harstem, of course.
The Dutch bro.
Yeah, you know, we share the same name, we share the same race, share the same previous gaming
Country.
background, going from both Warcraft into StarCraft.
Does he like Feyenoord soccer team as well?
Yeah, he kind of likes Feyenoord. He's not a fanatic fan of football in general.
Can't
but
be perfect.
no, but he said, like, if I have to cheer for a team, I cheer for Feyenoord. So that's all that matters, yeah.
And his opponents, dazzling today. Impressive stuff. I mean, coming in, saying he's not really practicing as much and doing the student duty work. I don't know what studi is. It's Petraeus. I'm really good at player introductions. I'm a big fan of him. This match is interesting to me, though. This is the first time we've seen a PvZ here. It's been a bunch of TVZs and PvT. And Dash and Terminal, I'm a little bit excited about that. We kind of joke about it as casters and analysts because it's like, oh, it's always Coda, and you never see, Moonlight Madness and Dash and Terminal, the two maps that are like absolutely everyone's like not going near that. It's too weird. It gets too weird there. But Dash and Terminal picked, and I actually, that Huck character, he knows his stuff. And I think the call-out's pretty good that there'll be like a Warp Prism expansion to that island base and then Stargate play.
I have tried that stuff though on Dash Terminal, and I must say, because the map is so small, it's really hard to pull it off. Like, for instance,
Yes.
I like doing something like that on Inferno pools. After I think I saw CJ Hero doing on one of those maps where he was carry a Colossus against a Zerg, I was like, man, if CJ Hero can do this against a world-class Zerg, I should be able to do this on ladder.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because every ladder Zerg is 7,000 times smarter than the best players on planet Earth making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, I do the same thing. I'm like, oh, cool, an island expansion. Wow. Surely the Zerg won't scout this. There's 5 overlords there. A Nidus Worm's just, like, waiting in the back corner to then plant there to go after it. And you're like, what are you doing?
I know.
Let me get clever.
But like on a big map like Inferno Pool, with a cross map, then maybe you can somehow get away with it. But Dash and Terminal is very small,
Yeah.
and then you have to choose: are you either going to really defend your island, or are you going to defend, your natural if a bunch of Hydras and Roaches show up? But we can talk about Dash Terminal later. Let's focus on Coda
Let's get back
for now.
to Coda.
Yeah. Even because we never know what to expect on Coda, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they broke it down a little bit, but PvZ is fairly formulaic coming out of Europe in particular right now. This is something that I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard quite a bit, but for those of you that haven't or just like hearing our voices, you're in luck. Right now, it's very Stalker Sentry-centric, but it kind of starts off with a 3 or 4 gate as well, where they'll put that pylon in a space that doesn't give up a whole lot of coverage to Zerglings, and then they really want to aggro the Zerg. They want them to be like, hey, I might just keep warping in here, and with this mothership core over the top of this is a really terrible attack. If you don't take it serious, I can come in and kill you. If you take it too serious, I recall back to my 3rd Nexus, and all of a sudden my economy is as good or even better than yours, and that is what makes that strategy so difficult to deal with.
Yeah, and it just makes perfect sense, because a lot of these Zergs, they are very greedy. They skip Zergling speed for a while. We do see that it's on the way, but it won't be done until 7 minutes and 40 seconds, which, if Harstem would have gone for the build you just described, Jeff, I think he would have been quite okay with it, quite satisfied. Sometimes it even spirals out of control and they just straight up win the game with it.
Yep.
But now instead, Harstem decided to go for the Stargate, and Petraeus scouting that, he's going to be very happy. He should have Spore Crawlers down in time. Doesn't need to build them just yet. If you guys wonder at home, why doesn't he just build spores right now? Let those drones mine a couple more trips to them in their own patches.
Maybe make another queen or two. Some Zergs do that as well.
Eventually you'll get spores, but there's no need to get them before the Oracle is out. Just kind of time it out. That by the time the Oracle shows up, you have your spore ready. You're going to be happy as a Zerg.
Now, to kind of compound that issue, Spore Crawlers do go down, as Kevin rightfully predicts. 12 Zerglings, that's not in and of itself infinity. I mean, that's not too many. And then there is actually going to be drones behind them. So I think this is just map control Zerglings. They're going to time out nicely with this speed upgrade. And this will allow him to see, okay, he is taking a third, or he is trying to put a pylon down near my base and apply pressure. If you, I did the ooh sound because it was 12 at first, and if it goes up to like 20, then 30, then it's a strategy trying to cancel out this third that we see right here, and he will scout right now.
And this Oracle could actually come back home, and an Oracle will easily take care of 12 links that are right-clicked on the Nexus. Harstem has to make up his mind, okay, there is that Oracle, and it's time to use Pulse Up Beam.
It's a weird choice to go for the Nexus there. Like, he didn't have all 12 Zerglings. There was a free Stalker and a Probe, which is kind of an easy grab for him.
Yeah, especially the Probe, because it's very annoying when you lose the Probe before it warped in the cannon, because then you're kind of paranoid as a Protoss, like, is more coming? Or like, oh god, and you stop building stuff. So I agree, going for a Nexus that he was not very likely to kill was perhaps a little bit silly. But at the end of the day, I think the main reason why Petraeus made those links is because Harstem has played quite all-in-ish today. And how often have we seen the good old Oracle into an 8-gate all-in? You know, it's like, here's my Oracle for the macro-oriented build, and then suddenly there are 8 gateways going up. So I think Petraeus just wanted to have those links to make sure no pylons were going up anywhere near him.
Oh, absolutely. They're a really essential part of this. And actually kind of a subtle thing that was skipped here as well. A lot of times Protoss players will go Oracle and then follow it up with either multiple Void Rays, like Naniwa is kind of common to do, or just a single Void Ray to clear out those Overlords. But actually those Overlords are still there. They're in pretty okay spots, and I think an Overseer is about to take a look inside the main of our Protoss player. And this is really good, diligent play from Petraeus, like seeing not those 9 gateways like you talked about. Sometimes people will take a third, saturate it with like 5 probes, and then all in.
Or 0, and then still cover the macro-oriented build. Right, TLO?
I can expand. But he scouts the main, sees no critical tech. He's going to want to be a little bit more active with that, but he's still active with his... well, no, he needs to scout more.
So overall, this is a very standard build in the end by Harstem. It's a build we saw Lilbal do multiple times as well, even very recently he did it again. It's just like you open up with the Oracle to make sure nothing crazy happens. It can be good against a lot of links, and behind that you just make sentries and stalkers. And Harstem is pretty damn good with this style as well. I think in general what he's very good with is his army movement when it comes to sniping that fort base and then recalling out. I've seen so many games of Harstem on Coda where it just plays out so simple. You know, he walks across the map, drops a few force fields, kills the fort base, recalls out, has better economy than a Zerg, and then eventually just wins.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, shout out to a StarCraft legend and fixture in our scene, Scarlet. She made popular this kind of opening. 4th base, sure, she'll make a lot more spine crawlers, but then following it up with infestors. And actually against this style in particular, we're seeing a little bit of a resurgence of this, because as you said, the fallback, warping back at home and just trying to get the Zerg to overcommit, infestors are a really nice answer for that. You can lock down those sentries, you can even kill them with a couple of fungals.
I am a little bit worried over here though, because Blink is ready. I think he should be able to blink those stalks back, right? Doesn't he have Blink? Why is he not blinking? Wow.
Yeah, I just didn't pay attention, I guess.
Oh no, it's not ready yet. Blink was not ready yet, but Harstem is going to be able to kill this fort base. And then I think overall this is an okay trade, because that's all that Harstem wants. He can recall home, he shouldn't really take that much damage. I didn't even think he has to recall yet.
The counterattack was weird. It was like 5 roaches and then 20 Zerglings. They got 3 stalkers, which, as you said, nice timing on that, but not a big deal. And then that's it. And he goes for the ramp, and every Protoss worth their salt, and Harstem certainly is that, it's going to have it A blocked, but B is going to have the ability to warp in. So just kind of a weird choice.
And right now you're looking at 3 bases against 3 bases. Harstem has even 1 worker more, and he's going to be quite okay with this. Ultralisk Cavern going down already. So I think the moment Harstem sees us, we'll probably try to just play it very patient from now on. Go for a few Archons, go for a few Immortals, and just take it from there.
And Harstem is on top of his scouting, because he is adding 2 Robos right now. They're quite late, but the 2 Robos to me signifies he knows it's going to be Ultralisk, and this is like the 3-3 upgrade timing in a TvZ matchup, in the sense that if he's able to get like 6 to 8 Immortals out, it's like super lights out for the Zerg, unless they can do the Blinding Cloud and Fungal combo, but we're not even there yet.
Yeah, some Zergs are very good at that, by the way. There are a few guys.
Petraeus is one of them, by the way.
Yeah, could be. I haven't seen too many.
Kevin.
I believe you.
I faced him.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, how did it go?
I won every time, baby. You know it. No, I'm just kidding. He's really good at the combo. It was like one of those things where it wasn't super popular, and then all of a sudden it happened. And like I'm commentating my stream, like, oh, I know, okay, I know what he's going for, and then it happens, you're like, just throw up inside your stomach a little bit.
Just to give a shout out to Harstem's understanding of this matchup, Harstem didn't actually even see the Ultralisk Cavern just yet, but he just knows. No, he didn't see it yet. He just knows because he saw the Infestors, he saw the Ling upgrades. So, you know, Harstem, as the experienced bowler that he is, just puts the pieces together.
Mass Queens here too, and we're building up to that. And this is, you know, guys, like, in your typical ZVP, we would look at this and say, well, he's just now getting a 4th base. That's certainly true, and while he would like to have that 4th and go for a 5, slowing it down, getting these Queens with high energy, getting out Ultralisk, getting out Infestors, which he already had, so they're max energy right now. He just needs to add a few Vipers, and all of a sudden, that army can really do work. It's scary stuff.
Yeah. It all comes down to engagements. Well, a couple of good blinding clouds can really derp your Immortals.
Yes.
Suddenly they won't shoot anymore, or half of your Stalkers won't shoot. The Stalkers are kind of, you know, they're clunky units.
Yeah.
They're not small.
They are not. They can get awkward. A little bit of a trade here. Not the biggest of deals for either player, really. It's I would say Petraeus came out on the worst for wear there, but he's looking to max out on these other units: Ultras, Queens, Infestors, and then of course some Vipers and Zerglings for support. But he really needs to hold on his 4th base. So, you know, I kind of excuse, okay, it doesn't have, you know, a 4th base. That's fine. But as time goes on and the main naturals start to get mined out, that becomes life and death.
Harstem has done a very good job in keeping that Oracle alive, and I think it's very important that it stays alive because then he can drop a Revelation later on, and he knows where those fungal growths will come from. He knows where those blinding clouds will come from, and it's really going to make his life so much easier getting a good engagement.
And, you know, Kevin, to be fair, too, we talked a lot about the army composition for the Zerg, but let's talk about the Protoss. Like, Immortals, yes, that's a key essential thing being added here, but so is Storm and feedback. Like, look at the purple bars over the Zerg army.
Yeah,
I know you got excited last game, Kevin, about the medevacs. Right now, you have to be absolutely solid with excitement.
I'm thrilled. I do think in general it's a little bit harder to land very good feedbacks because High Templars sometimes they can derp as well, or they can get fungal. But if he can get them off, I mean, that's great, because every feedback is a guaranteed kill, because Infestors, they gather up so much energy, alone HP, and most of the time Queens will max out on their energy. But yeah, the Oracle is very important, especially because we saw an extra Stargate go down, so we may see a couple Tempest being added if, you know, we're ever going to see a Great Aspire. So far, that's not the case.
Like, just a Mothership at least as well. That ability is so good late game. There's all the Templar, by the way. They're having a little bit of a congregation. This is not a counterattack that you want to keep going with. They're dying for free.
There goes that Fleet Beacon. I'm surprised he got the second Stargate before the Fleet Beacon, by the way. Aren't you surprised by it?
Not ideal.
Harstem. Okay, got an Ultra.
Can heal the Ultras. Oh yeah, he did kill one. That's, you know, Petraeus falling apart a little bit. Like, he doesn't have, I think there's actually no Spire, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, there's 2 being added. So this War Prism is having a field day, like just dropping off the boys, and it just keeps working. Petraeus, because he was only on those 3 bases, I guess he feels like he couldn't afford to add the Spine Crawlers, add the additional Spore Crawlers, and lose another Ultras here.
This is just like, he could have bring one of the Vipers home and just abduct that War Prism above a Spore Crawler and then focus it with a Queen and kill it. But that War Prism has been alive for way too long. Like, not having a Spire always makes it hard to kill these buildings or, you know, these flying units like War Prisms. But he should have taken care of it by now because he's struggling a little bit too much. Look at the dead drone count there, 17?
17 drones died. We just saw the carcass of an Ultralisk melding away into the ground. Like that. I mean,
of course, Zealot Harass is not free either, but Harstem is definitely getting a good investment.
Exactly. He's. Oh, that was a funny sound. There you go. So he will actually hold this down now. Get rid of that warp. That's a big deal. So that means that now Petraeus can cast his gaze outward instead of looking inward in his base, and kind of losing out with those trades.
Look at these upgrades that are going down right now. Missile attacks, Burrow for Petraeus.
I mean, the Burrow one makes sense for the Infestors in particular. It makes it much more escapable.
Oh, the Oracle. The Oracle's going to die. That's rather unfortunate. Doesn't know about the Spires yet.
Got a little bit of a Zealot counterattack on the left side here, and looking at the army of... Oh, that's not... Okay. I mean, you don't want those sentries anymore. With Ultras stampeding around, they don't have nearly as much utility.
If the Ultras are not here, he could drop Forceless. He might actually be able to get a cheeky head skill over here.
Zealots! This will confuse you.
Oh, hey, these Zealots are going to create a little bit of a wall, though, for this Ultralisk. Well done there by Harstem. Very cute plays. This is going to be enough. Will he be able to kill this? Stalkers have so little DPS. What do you think, Jeff? Is it going to live or die?
If he blinks around and does the, like...
No, it's going to live.
Entrance fuses come in.
Well done there by Petraeus.
But he's just training him out. Don't be confused, guys. Like, the little Stalker... I mean, look, see Mora being shaved off. He can't do it all in one, you know, boom, here's a whole bunch, because he's slowly building Immortals off those Robos. If he gives up half his army, he won't be able to make up the difference in time. It'll just be a throwaway.
Very interesting game so far, where most of the units have been absolutely sacrificial. Now a Stalker hit squad being sent to the left bottom side of the map. Will buy a little bit of time for Harstem with that big mothership on the way. Of course, time is what he wants.
Time is what he wants. And Petraeus has that combo we were talking about, and I'm excited, Kevin. You've been in Europe, so you haven't seen a whole lot of creative play, but over here in North America... No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, they're creative guys over there, but it's going to be really cool. And now this is weird. The single Immortals got me scratching my head a little bit.
It's good against buildings.
Yeah, but... I don't know.
It's not a massive investment in this phase in the game. Of course, it's a little bit odd, but... Okay, well, now
this is what I was expecting,
by the way. Now it becomes very odd, Jeff. All right, you got me. I give up. It's also weird.
But this is the base that I feel like Harstem's going to be like, okay, harass stage is over. Like, as he goes between bases, either the army's going to be there or 1,000 spine crawlers. Okay, and that's the one time the DTs will work. Now the mothership is out, and that's going to get abducted as all get out. So that's part of the reason why it's kind of bad, actually, in this matchup. As long as Petraeus is ready for it.
I thought you liked it.
I do, but I like it earlier, before the Vipers were out. Like, I actually like kind of rushing to it. I still like it. I think you should do it, because if you can feed back the Vipers coming in, it's incredible. It's super powerful.
I like these defensive Dark Templars. It's going to make Harstem's life a lot easier in dealing with these Ultras.
Maybe I love Dark Templar, Kevin. I'm a big fan.
I mean, every single game that Todd casts, he's talking about the Ink Control cannons and the Ink Control Dark Shrine.
He's making me famous, man. Todd, the check's in the mail, by the way, buddy. You should get that pretty soon.
He just moved, though, you know.
Well, I got it.
Wrong address.
It's a certain bridge in Germany he's living under right now. Fifth base just now starting to get established from Petraeus. We saw the Dark Templar cutting it down and buying time. That being said, though, Harstem is not in the same boat as Zerg is, where they need a ton of bases, but he is only on 4, and if he loses this super expensive army, it can get scary fast. And
I mean, this is
Kevin, I don't like his army.
It's not his real army. He has 6 Tempers in his main base, so this is not his real army.
Thank God, because...
And he's upgrading air weapons from double cybernetics core as well.
That makes a lot more sense. I looked at that army initially and I was like, I don't like this army, Kevin. It's not great. It's like, relax, Jeff. Look in his base. Oh, there's the other half. Okay. And the double spire has been upgrading. We see it's at 2-2 upgrades nearing completion right there. That's really nice. I'm kind of sniffing. You know what I'm sniffing?
Tell me.
Mutalisk switch.
Yeah, against Tempest, it's not bad at all.
Breath, it's fantastic. Didn't quite see the Tempest there. Good move, man. Now he sees it. All right, he knows.
So what is Petraeus going to do? He's sitting on a pretty massive army himself. You know, both players hovering around 125 army supply. So the fight, it should come down to execution. And make no mistake, people at home, these are armies that are pretty difficult to control. Even this Protoss army. Because Tempers are either going to shoot at useful things or at absolutely useless things. So
people are like, why don't you just micro them? It's like so hard to get them to do it correctly.
It's very tricky. But of course, the same goes for Petraeus. He has to drop transfusions, he has to drop lightning clouds, maybe abducts, and he has to drop fungal groves, and then make sure that his army is actually in the right position. So this becomes very difficult, and it often comes down to experience. How experienced are you in this phase in the game?
Yeah, a lot less. It's harder to get to this stage of the game. I do like his patience. He's even going to give up the 4th base and says, I'm not ready for this just yet. Loses a queen there, and actually an infestor as well. A little bit sloppy. This like weird two ultras counterattack is, it's like cute, but you're not going to get the base.
He's getting a couple finals here and there, forcing a few defensive weapons. Unfortunately for Petraeus, he's going to end up losing one more hatchery. And this is starting to worry me a little bit, because look at the bank of Petraeus. It's not as big as it should be. Couple of good abducts though, that's 1 or 2 Tempest for almost free, I'd say. Good transfusions immediately on those Ultras.
But this is, he's not ready yet. I'm looking at the production tab, 3-3 on the Spire. Yeah, he has only 1,600 minerals, so really, because he's kind of reloading. Okay, there it is, the Corruptors.
Yeah, he just made 7 of them. But 7 is...
But just 7?
Yeah, I guess like if you abduct units 1 by 1, then maybe 7, but in a straight up fight, I'm with you, man, there's no way.
The Templar haven't even revealed their abilities yet. We haven't seen Storm or Feedback just yet.
Maybe they can't. Maybe they forgot how to do
it. It's happened, bro. It's definitely happened. It would be so bad if it was here at this stage. A single Void Ray as well, it's a little bit odd. Adding some will be okay. These revelations are fantastic, by the way. I love keeping tab of that army, just using the long range of these Tempests to really just tickle and annoy that army.
Tempests with vision are about 100 times better as Tempests without vision.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you guys can believe it, in the I played them in the beta a couple of BlizzCons ago. They actually shot even further than
almost twice as far. I believe right now it's
the monitor.
Is it right now 13? And I think back then it was like 22 or something like that. Like you could literally make cannons in your natural and then make Tempest and then shoot across the map. It was pretty brilliant. It was pretty brilliant.
Good times back then.
Oh, a couple of Tempests being abducted.
Tempest die immediately, and again, without the Tempest, that army's not super impressive.
And Harstem lost a lot of workers on the right top side. Will the mothership die over here? He could recall if he really wants to.
Good feedbacks, though. The feedbacks scared this away. Like, without the Blinding Clouds, those Immortals will mulch the Ultralisk. It's the reason I say this army's not good is if you can get a Blinding Cloud and Fungal on top of those Immortals, they die in 2 seconds and they die for free. But without that, without the Blinding Cloud, without the Fungal, the Ultras will actually die so quick to that army right there.
You know, it's very funny, but the Queens are actually pretty much the most important unit in this army of Petraeus now. Because nothing in Harstem's army kills Queens very quick. Like, Immortals are not great. Archons are very good against Queens if they get in range.
They're okay.
Yeah.
Tempests are terrible. You're absolutely right about that.
So Queens are actually going to be a very important part of this composition. So landing a couple of feedbacks and taking out a few of those Queens, that's really useful. That's a lot of damage that normally it's a lot harder to push out.
Harstem just now trying to retake that top 5 or the top right-hand side map for his 5th base. He's actually tried that a couple times, but Petraeus been doing a good job of kind of staying on top of it. Petraeus, he has to fight for this base. He can't let this base go, I don't think. He has to fight here.
Yeah, he doesn't really have a whole lot. High Templars moving forward once more, looking for those juicy feedbacks, as we often say.
Yeah. Oh,
careful, there is no see there, Dark Templar.
There was, but it had somewhere else to be. Now we're gonna have that fight now. The Tempest on an island by themselves, and pushing forward is Petraeus, getting underneath that mothership, going for the fight. He's gonna recall up, but he leaves behind some stragglers. No saving Private Ryan for these guys. They're dead.
I mean, those storms just tickle Ultras, man, and even Queens and stuff, they don't really die against storms. Very good engagement there for Petraeus. A couple of feedbacks did go down, but plenty of Queens survived that fight at first. This one Ultra has been holding down the fort for a while. Just wants to take him one by one, man.
Guys, someone help me out. This is ridiculous.
That
Here
micro, what a
heel.
guy. Look at the Ultra. Look at him go. I'm going to follow him for the rest of the game.
What shall you name him, Kevin?
Which one was it? I forgot. I don't know. No, I got him. It's over here.
What's his name?
I don't know. We have to think about it.
Well, not, you know.
Yeah.
Name him
Tito.
a half squat.
He's Tito.
Tito? Okay,
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah?
Is it after Tito Ortiz?
Yeah, like, I don't know. I just thought about it.
All right.
Sounds like a good name for an Ultra.
We're going to have that base under contention once more. Petraeus, his army, he's had enough, by the way. He's like, that base is going to, listen, I'm having it. You're not. And he's going to move in here. He's going to be able to snipe the hatchery, most likely. The hatchery itself, not the biggest of deals. Petraeus has 3,000 minerals, but mining off of this base and having it secure. These are important things that he needs to fight for.
Harstem has to be. He has a bunch of random cannons in the middle of the map. That's very good in some scenarios, but against Ultras and stuff, it becomes a little less useful. He's doing a very good job in trying to make something happen with Zealots and DPs. You can try this 4 or 5 times, and even if it doesn't work, if it works the 6th time, and suddenly Petraeus is out of money, then it has been all worth it all along.
Yes. I'm a little bit interested in the fact, I mean, you know what, so Harstem's been pretty aggro with this army, and in doing so, look at that top right-hand side base. It's not super defended at all. 3 cannons at this stage of the game, I mean, that's just a bunch of cracklings that'll run through that, no problem. But you know, Petraeus hasn't had time to even think about this space. He's been trying to hold on to his own.
He killed like 20 probes there earlier when he sent a bunch of links, but he didn't send an overseer. So then Harstem wiped in 2 Zealots and 3 Dark Templars, and they killed all the links immediately.
Harstem has no bank too, man. I'm telling you, like, this army is, it is his whole life. And if he loses that base over there, which is now being threatened, here's that attack. A couple of Ultralisks and Zerglings top right-hand side. You'll just have to imagine.
Oh, he just recalled.
Yeah.
He recalled to the right top side.
Actually, that's a lot more than 2 Ultralisks. But that's how important that base is. Like, we'll look at that and be like, wow, he recalled the whole army. Yeah, he needs that whole base.
Really interesting encounter over here as well. 2 Voyagers will get abducted, but above all, Harstem tries to get one more base. Like you said, Jeff, he's really not that rich. His harassment has been going on non-stop, and you know, we're always easy to compliment. Like, he's doing a great job with these run-bys. On a certain point, you may have to ask yourself, is he actually doing a great job with the run-bys? I kind of like them all along because he did kill hatcheries, but now this is a moment where you have to look at your bank and you'll be like, okay, let's not warp in 7 Zealots and 2 Dark Templars anymore and run them into his spine and the spore, because I simply can't afford that. High Templars!
Feedbacks. It's okay. Doesn't kill the Queens, though, and if they go back, it'll be as if nothing ever happened.
Almost killed himself. There was almost...
These Ultras are on an island by themselves. You boys got to do something, because if you get found, you're in trouble. Now, looking at the production, it's actually just upgrades and a hatchery. Like, Petraeus is maxed out, so there's really only one more place to go. And it looks like Harstem's feeling that pressure. Okay, geez, I thought he was going to dive in deep there. I'll just counterattack, but there's actually an Immortal anchoring that pylon. None shall pass.
The Ultra Cannon right there against That's so well done.
That's actually really cool. Yeah. All right. Could have the fight here. It's pretty committed. Fungals do go down, though. This is the fight he's going to recall out. And you know what? That saves his army, but every time he does that, Kevin, he gets a little bit more small, man, in his ability to replenish that army. I mean, look, he's at 180 supply. It's not going up any faster right now.
I'm starting to be a little bit confused, Jeff. Like, where do you feel like Harstem is going wrong in this game? Because I kind of felt I liked all of his decisions. I liked the tempos and stuff. And now it just seems that he can't find a way to close out this game. And it's starting to look more grim and more grim with each, going by recall. Like, where is he doing it wrong?
Well,
I'm actually not 100% sure.
To be honest, I feel like part of it is that he used that army to harass the lower left-hand side, but didn't secure a base underneath that army. Like, he aggroed the Zerg. And the only reason he recalled out is because he got a little bit out of position. With good positioning, I think he has the better army, or did back then at least.
Yeah.
But now he's down to the situation where he's mining off of literally one base, I believe it is. I think he's half mining in the middle base. But for the most part, his economy has just sunk down. Yeah. And the nature of the Zerg army, too, is it's going to abduct things. It's going to abduct things that's going to cost you money.
Harstem is really going to have to get some cost-efficient engagement soon. He's going to have to slow down his economy of Petraeus, and he's going to have to force a fight. And even when it's not the best fight out there, that's still better than no fight, because losing units one by one to abduct when you barely have anything to work with yourself when it comes to money, he's going to have to push the issue over here. He can definitely still take this game. His army is even a little bit bigger, but he needs to, really start making something happen.
These Void Rays add a lot, Kevin. Like, his army, I still think, is the stronger army. It's just, to your point, how long can he afford for this game to go on? And it looks like Petraeus, oh, geez, he's flirting with an attack, but his damage dealers to the air is these Corruptors that are going to die in 2 seconds flat, and then Queens that are, like, throwing stones at a capital class spaceship. Like, it's not great.
He has 10 Corruptors now. He's getting a few more, but I really like this. Harstem is getting some guaranteed kills. Every single volley of these Tempests have been a kill over the last minute or something. Killed Queens, killed Corruptors, killed another Queen. He's going to maybe almost get another Queen. So this is doing really well for Harstem. This is something he truly needed, especially after he took out one of the bases of Petraeus.
And this is what I was saying too. In the midst of this harass, he has established another base, Kevin. So his economy's starting to get a little bit better. He's maxed out. He's going to build up a bank, but Petraeus is going to strike right now. The Storms go down at the base of the attack. This is going to go off creep. The Infestor's starting down as well, so there's not really any stopping here. Blinding Cloud's stopping the Immortals for now, but there's just no air support. And the combination of the Void Rays and Tempest are doing pretty okay. I mean, actually, the Queens are holding up, though.
Harstem is absolutely crushing this fight, man. Harstem is crushing it. Look at the supply.
Oh, yeah, he's up on supply.
He barely, like, it looked kind of close.
There was a breaking point for 1 second, but then all the damage dealers of the Zerg just died.
All these Corruptors just melted. The Void Rays that you mentioned before, they did some serious work, man. They melted those Corruptors. And I also felt that Petraeus' attack wasn't perfectly synced up. Like, a bunch of those Ultras died from the south side before the Ultras from the north side arrived.
35 Mutalists. Going to be a couple less because they have to get canceled right there. Can the Mutalists tip it over? And these are 3-3 Mutalists, keep in mind. I mean, there's still an Archon.
Pretty much everything is 3-3 on this map. Yeah. Can he fight his army? He's going to go for the mothership.
Well, leaves behind the Tempest, though, and that's actually a pretty big investment. And now keep in mind, the other bases for Harstem, they don't have much in the way of Mutalist defense. Yeah. Oh, they're trying to get there. They're like, get to the frickin' cannons. It doesn't look like
he has 3 Stargates, though, and he has good upgrades. He doesn't have Phoenix range yet, I believe.
Not a lot of money, though, Kevin. 74 gas. This base is completely pointless. I don't understand why Petraeus is making the fight here. He's just trying to win versus the army. He needs to go after the economy.
Wow, this game is actually getting so close right now.
I think actually Petraeus got it.
Because there's not enough anti. Well, one more storm.
Oh, don't do it.
Look at these Phoenixes. 5-6 Phoenixes is actually a reasonable number. Phoenixes do have range, by the way. Very important to mention. He has 5, 6, 7 Phoenixes to work with. No, I think Harstem is doing great. I think Harstem's got it.
Well, I think the decision to fight here was really weird. Like, he's now like, okay, I guess I'll go after that base that is basically the entire point of the game. And there's 5 cans, which at this point in time, after a couple of storms, is actually kind of a lot for these Mutalists. A couple are going to die.
Yep, he could have gone for the Pioneers as well instead. But now the Phoenix count is already very solid. There's an Archon in the mix as well, so these Mutalists have to be very careful.
Terrans, though, they're going to have a couple of seconds here to live, and they're not being focus fired, so nothing there. And now the Phoenix count is pretty high. I think, actually, if there was a chance for Petraeus, it's been kind of sopped up. It's starting to look pretty glim.
Like, what do you make right now if you're Petraeus? Look at all these Immortals on the ground. Well, that's not an option. Then you think about air.
Attack. Yeah. The Immortals have nothing else to do, so he's just like, guys, I guess you just go kill everything.
And these Mutalisks are pretty much the only thing that Petraeus has, so he needs to bring those Mutas home to defend against the Immortals, and then the Phoenixes can just do the work. It got very close there for a split second.
It did. The fight, I gotta say, I'm going to be critical of it. I think the decision to fight at an empty, mined-out base, going into cannons, going into his closest rally points, as opposed to, I mean, look at the creep leading up to that 5th base for Harstem. If he makes the fight about over there, and Harstem tries to hold on to it, you kill that base, you crush it, the reinforcements are slower, all of a sudden, and Harstem, by the way, at the time had like 50 gas. So if he's pulling in gas off of 2 up the top right-hand side, I think there's a very real chance that's where Petraeus wins this game.
Well, Petraeus is going to end up both Spires. I do think Jeff, to his defense, he was chasing the Tempest, and with a Muta switch, you often want to hit quick and fast, as GG is called, and Harstem will win in 42-minute game number 1 over here on Coda. But yeah, to go on about that a little bit further, like he was chasing the Tempest, and I think when you switch into Mutas, you want to finish the game almost immediately, because if you give Frodo's 2 minutes to stabilize, he didn't have that much gas, but you'd be surprised how quickly you're going to work with 6, 7, 8 Phoenixes, and that's already enough. Like 7 Phoenixes or 0 changes everything.
And in his defense as well, I absolutely agree with everything you said, but like Tempest with the Mothership, Tempest against Mutalisk, not fantastic, obviously in a straight-up fight, but as like a, you can't come near me because I have Storm and Archons, but I'm constantly taking pot shots at you, all of a sudden you're losing 3 or 4 Mutalisks every few volleys, and then your 30 Mutalisks become 20, and then 15 and 10, and then all of a sudden you're dead. So to his defense, maybe that's where he, in his mind, especially in this intense 42-minute game, he's like, I gotta go.
This was a great fight, but this is what I mentioned as well. Like a couple of those Ultras from the south side, they already all died. Just now the Ultras from the north side came in, and a lot of the units from Harstem are on low HP. Look at these Tempests. Couple of very low HP Tempests, couple low HP Void Rays, low HP Mothership, but it all survives for now. And you know, 6, 7, 8, 9 Immortals on the ground against Ultras. Well, you said it before, we can say it again. They are having a field day. This is nothing that...
And this is a fully saturated base that then dies. He has to cancel 8 Mutalisks there, and a few of them, I think they're actually mostly canceled, but just everything about the winning of this fight right over here was huge.
Yeah, I mean, this was pretty much the most interesting 2 minutes in the game, as now all these Mutas pop as well. Imagine if he kills the Mothership over here, by the way. That would have been, oh my god, so huge. Like, he backed off for a second, because he's like, are there Archons there? And then he's like, no, wait, I can't back off. I have to win right here, right now. That's when he chased these Tempests, and of course, does an insane amount of damage immediately. And on this moment, the Phoenix count is, you know, 2, 3 at best. But I think he just didn't want to give any more time.
Look at those cannons, though.
Yeah,
it's a mined-out base. So I agree with you. Like in my heart of hearts. And by the way, guys, Petraeus is playing on a huge stage in a decider match. So obviously mistakes like this happen. But if he chases out the Mutalisk, but is rallying to the 5th base and then goes over there with this fast Mutalisk, he wins this game.
These Storms also maybe did a little bit too much. But I guess by now, you know, even 5 Phoenixes, when a Protoss is on 3 Stargates, your Muta switch has to be so overwhelming, has to be so massive that you're looking at 40, 50 Mutalisks against 2, 3 Phoenixes. But the moment when it comes like this, when there are other units supporting your growing Phoenix wall, that's all that Protoss needs. Because 5, 6, 7 Phoenixes, you can work with that. And when you have 10 plus Phoenixes, well, you just circle around for days and you just shoot at Mutalisk. It's great.
Whoa, bro. That micro is super, it's hard.
Yeah,
it's like,
I mean, you do furiously right-click on your mouse.
You know,
it's almost like PvP, right? Where you just stack them up.
No, and you said it at the time, too. It's like, yeah, he's got 3 Stargates. And honestly, that's why we've harped on a little bit. And I swear I'll put it to rest now and not come back to it. But he was mining off of 4 gases, and he had sub-100 gas after making 3. It's not like he queued up 15 Phoenix. He queued up 3, and that was his store. So that's how close that game was. It was an excellent bout between these two. And after a quick bathroom break here from Harstem, he's plugging back in and ready to go to battle. And this was a game that Harstem was ahead for, I felt like 75% of the time, but all of a sudden Petraeus through army control was like, hey, I'm going to surprise you just like he did earlier. And
I think you made an excellent point where Harstem just kind of forgot about his super late game economy. He thought up to 4 bases and then eventually a 5th, and then suddenly he's like, you know, I have no more money. We have the, let's just forget about Coda. It was a great game, 42 minutes slugfest, definitely recommended, perhaps my favorite game of the day. But now we are looking at Dash and Terminal, a very, very unique map for so many reasons.
It is. It's just a weird map. You have that island base at the top end side between the 2 mains. There are gold bases, 1 per kind of a starting location, but then even 1 by itself in the southern location. So if you want to get really fancy, you can take that one and people will forget about it forever. There's a back pathway leading between your natural and your main. There's rocks. I mean, everything about this map is like some weird Picasso scientist just jumped in and was like, let's do all the things. Like, if there's lava in this map, I wouldn't be too surprised.
You know, what I'm wondering about, if maybe this is also a map where a lot of Zergs like to open up with pool first and then gas first, right? And just like make a bunch of speed links or gas first into pool on one base. Maybe Harstem wants him to do that. Maybe Harstem feels confident against a crazy Zerg opening like that. Either way, we are loaded in to Dash Terminal. Could be the last game of the day, but not if it's up to this man. Of course, spawning on the north side of Dash Terminal. Representing my insanity, it is Petraeus. He wants to make sure
Glasses off, Kevin.
He wants to make sure we'll see one more game of StarCraft II.
And his opponent, coming victorious in that game number 1, all the way from the Netherlands. It's the tall Harstem.
You know, Harstem is actually, some people might think like, oh man, Harstem flew all the way to California just for this, then he goes home. He's actually going to stay in California for a while, as he will be attending PAX Prime, as there is another big StarCraft tournament there. And Harstem is just going to hang out with the Root Boys for a little bit in northern California, so that's very nice.
Not sure I would say just for this. This is a pretty... It's like, hey, you qualified for the offline, you know,
of course, but
WCS. He's like, you know what? It's a pretty long flight, to be honest. I'm going to hang out here and play soccer.
No, but sometimes it's, you know, like you fly 9-10 hours. It could be 2 best of 3s. It could be 3 best of 3s.
That's true.
Of course, you always think about the greater picture. You don't think about just this. You know, you're entering a full season.
That's right.
And this is just a small part of the season. I like this opening from Petraeus, by the way. Take the gold. Why not?
I like it as a commentator too, Kevin. I absolutely agree with you. But
As a player, you
super
absolutely
hate it when I face against it. Yep.
Harstem's build, by the way, is so ballsy. He's playing on Dash Terminal. He has not scouted yet, and he's going to go Nexus first on a map with not 1, not 2, but 3 ways to enter your natural. He goes Nexus first, no scout. This is Harstem going into a pop tonight and say, girl, I too like to live dangerously. Nexus first, no scout on Dash Terminal.
As a Dutchman, danger is one of my 7 middle names.
Like, this is insane.
He scouts it, and right now Petraeus is probably giving him a cheeky little, like a head bob, like, okay, Harstem, well played. There is the gas to follow us up, but honestly, with that scout, it wouldn't be super unrealistic for him to just take his natural as well. I mean, but he's a little bit he's in too deep. He already had the spawning pool, I think, before that was scouted.
Harstem, that's very nice. Actually, I didn't know that you could do that. From the high ground, see the gold base with a scout like this.
I usually don't see anything at this point in time because I go red with rage. I'm like, all right, the game's afoot. Because on this map too, by the way, you can't really cannon rush. Because if you go for a cannon rush, they cancel the natural and they go one of the gold bases. They already take the gold base. Like, there's just so many options for them to not really give a damn about your Forge Fast expansion. And even a Forge Fast expansion, by the way, is hard to execute anyway. So you don't cannon rush, and the Zerg knows you're probably going to gateway expand. And with that gateway expand, if a Zerg knows that, they can hatch first, they can take a gold. Like, they just, the limited like openings that a Protoss can reliably do, this game withstanding, by the way, because Nexus First is not reliable, is really empowering for the Zerg. Like, it feels really good for them.
Yeah, the boys at the analysis desk were wondering, you know, does Harstem have a special trump card here? You know, what is his plan? Why is he playing this map? Because we don't see this map a whole lot.
I play counter meta.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is right now. Harstem is just like, well, you know, a lot of Zergs like to open up with links first, but Petraeus probably knows that I know that a lot of links Zergs like to do that, so he's not going to do that, and instead I am not going to get ready for that, because if Petraeus would have done what I just mentioned, by the way, you know, the game would have been super over.
Oh, Kevin, it's laughable. It's like, we always talk, you and I talk about this a lot, but the 700 GM ladder Zergs are just like rolling their eyes right there, because they're like, by this time I have 76 Zerglings, and I'm going one base Roach to follow it up. Like, I don't understand how this build works.
This is when you're ranked 72A or 78 GM player from North America.
Yeah.
It's like, I would actually do better than these
crush
guys.
Harstem on stage. What's your name? It's like Pajama Pants Peanut Butter 175.
Vampire Slayer 338, Jeff. It's always a or Vampire Hunter. You know, for all
Vampire Darkness Hunter in the Twilight Realm.
But for now,
Pylon in the back, by the way. It's worth mentioning, if you haven't heard this, because you don't see Dash Terminal that much in broadcast matches, that's a full wall-off.
Yep, that single pylon. Well,
okay, here
this
come the
is still going to be a little bit scary for Harstem. He's basically only wiping in from one gateway now. He doesn't have a mothership core, right?
Not yet.
Okay, but this is also kind of an awkward number of links for Petraeus.
I think.
Like, when I see Zerg do this, it's like, make up your mind. Either go absolutely super all out, or don't do it at all. Oh, this was quite a few links, so he
if you
definitely
think
did
this is
commit
awkward,
to it.
look at what's about to join them. Check this out. Now this is scary. Boom! 6 Zerglings! This takes it up a notch. No, it doesn't. And there's like 5 force fields too, by the way. He keeps re-walling in. Just use your force fields, bro.
No, I actually think you want to keep the force fields as a last effort.
I don't know. I mean, I agree with you, but losing he's lost like several buildings.
Yeah, but like if you use your force fields to keep the buildings alive, then maybe later on you want.
He's got like 9 force fields, bro.
Okay. I do in the end there, but we see that Petraeus had no more links behind that or nothing else behind that. You know, Harstem doesn't have the information that we have.
That's true.
So I don't mind for him playing it very safe. Of course, technically could have kept the gateway alive, but
I agree. It's not the biggest deal. And you're right. He doesn't see behind that, so maybe he needs to hold that. Petraeus going ham, by the way. He's on the outside. This has become a game of like one of those like zombie survival games where now the Immortals kind of give themselves away up there. Okay, the Overlord has already seen it though, to be honest.
So the good thing for Petraeus is that he has a gold base, so even though he made 300 links, you know, his economy is quite alright.
His Hydralisk Den is it's a halfway. And Harstem's adding 6 gateways and a 3rd Immortal here. By the time he gets there, like these Hydras are going to need the upgrade. It's a pretty cool strat though, because you can Immortal push to the gold from here pretty cleanly.
But Harstem's Mothership Core is extremely late, so he's going to have to keep units behind for a little bit, because Petraeus will obviously look for opportunities to counterattack. And he's opening up one more way into the natural, so Harstem is going to have to worry about 3 ramps, or 3 entrances into the natural. Not all of them are ramps, technically speaking.
And if anything, we need to be technically speaking.
Yeah, that's right.
This is the caster desk. Zergling's still sharking around, looking for something, trying to buy time. There is that upgrade for the Hydras. There's pure Hydras coming out behind this. I actually like, in most cases I would not like this, but I like that Petraeus took that 3rd, by the way, because if Harstem does push to the gold, he can just evacuate the drones from there and go saturate that base immediately, because time is what he needs. As time goes on, like Hydras at 15, 20 can be dealt with. With like 30 or 40 and you're Immortal pushing, minus like ungodly force fields, you're probably dead.
I find 15 Hydralisk a very, very high amount already to face.
Yeah,
I think most of the time
we suck, so it's like different.
That's I can get behind that actually. Most of the time when I see 6, 7 Hydras, I'm already like, all right, this is it. Do or die right now.
Oh god, there's 7 of them? What if there's 10? Quick!
Well, here we go. Mothership Core is a little bit exposed. 1 sentry dies immediately. He had 200 energy on it. How many Hydras we're currently looking at? 16. 16 Hydras though,
10 more than 6.
Yeah, that's 10
He's going in.
I think this is good enough for Petraeus, man. I think these sentries are going to melt.
Sentries are in the front too. They are melting. They're dying. It's now just, well, after this 1 sentry dies, just die for me. Give me the analysis. Please die. And thank you. So now that all the sentries are gone, what can he do? That was it. He needed the tower to fall on all those. That would have been the coolest game ever.
That was the setup plan. 6 Hydra squeeze by and cooling tower falls down.
Oh, 6 Hydra, well, he'd still win that fight.
In an epic chain of events.
So now, no sentries. He's on 2 bases.
Okay, he's not even dropping the Desperation Robotics Bay. He's dropping in more sentries. Like, that's ultra desperate.
And he's going to, like, maybe go, I mean, to your point, he could slow this down and try to take a 3rd with these sentries, but he's going to push out. And out here, it's...
I mean, these Hydras in a very awkward position,
Well, they're not used to it, but they should turn around and fight. There's no force fields. I mean, that's it. So he's going to fight here, and this is actually the better fight. Don't listen to Uncle Jeff. Jeff's actually probably a terrible dude.
68 supply against 54, but Petraeus has to be a tiny bit careful. Now we do see the Desperation Robotics Bay. And now, most of the time, by the time you finally have your first Colossus, the first Viper is out as well. That's like the most beautiful thing. It's like
soul crushing.
Yeah, I know my 2 base all in is filled, but you know, I think I'm still in this one. And then like you walk across the map, and then Vipers
it's a holdover from Wings of Liberty, where Zergs, you would like bounce back and forth with your Immortal all in or whatever, and then you show up with 3 Colossus, and they're like, Protoss is broken. I didn't want to make a Spire. By the way, it is funny. We were like overthinking. Harstem, what would he have planned for this map? It was a bad build followed up by an Immortal all-in.
I mean, the start build is technically not that bad.
Nexus First is terrible on this map, Kevin. It just worked out here.
Yeah, okay, but I mean, like, Nexus First is not bad if you get away with it. That's the moral.
It's just a big if is the problem.
Yeah, of course.
It's a map where you, like...
I mean, it makes tournament champions, right? Rolling dice a little bit. All great players take a risk here and there.
Absolutely. And also Harstem.
Oh, be nice, yeah. Hey, there is no infestation pit on the way. Instead, we forgot about 1 settled. So it's going to be a Spire. Now, if you are very rich, then of course Corruptors are still fine, don't get me wrong. Because look at the army right now of Harstem. It's like 6, 7, 8 Stalkers. It's like, well, good luck killing Corruptus with this. But in general, I think that the Viper tag would have been a much safer choice for Petraeus.
Kevin, you're an encyclopedia of StarCraft. I think I actually already know the Zerg. I think it was Jadong, but didn't Harstem do this where he failed an Immortal all-in? I want to say it like a home story cup. Not even this last one, the one before it. And then just made 3 Colossus and almost won the game, or even did win the game. I know I'm being super vague, but I think I remember that.
The one from the Königsborg, the anniversary edition, number 10?
I don't know.
Or if you're talking about number 9, then I don't know, because I was actually not there. That's
Finally this Rock's died, by the way. Petraeus has been working on it all game long.
I don't exactly recall the game you're referring to, but...
Nah, it's okay. It actually never even happened. It's a possibility with me. This third... Oh, I don't understand the Hydras as being part of that counter, but he does see the Colossus, which is actually important.
Maybe he's going to go Mutalisk instead of Corruptus?
Yeah. Called it. There it is.
I don't mind it, because Mutas are very good in this map. Like, the rush distance from main base to main base, you know, it's almost nothing. And look at the SimCity, by the way. I am very familiar with this scenario. Look at the SimCity of Harstem. Imagine if Stalkers have to run from the 3rd base to the main base. Yeah, good luck, have fun defending against Mutalisk. This is a nightmare. You can't even get through.
Yeah, it is. It is just a nightmare, is what you described. Really nice.
Like, the only thing that Petraeus has to worry about is that Harstem will most likely not even bother, right? He's not going to try to defend against this.
Couple things here. Zergling counterattack to that 3rd again. He needs to cancel that. That'd be really nice. And Hydra's here, and he will. And by the way, without this base being able to be saturated inside the main, getting shut down by Mutalisk. And all of a sudden, Harstem...
Yes, this has to attack.
You've just been hand-delivered a note. It's from the Zerg. It says, we're base trading. Brett?
Is there a Mothership Core on the map? Nope, there is no Mothership Core anymore, so that means no Photon Overcharge.
Needs to kill that Blink would be really nice.
Nah, the Blink is never going to finish up, because Harstem is not going to try to defend this. He's marching across the map with pretty much everything he has.
Pretty much, though.
He has to be careful. You want to keep your Stalkers alive.
Losing Stalkers like this is pretty bad. And actually, his pathing is just so bad here. Like, his army's bleeding in from different directions. And a scraggling number of Hydralisks and Zerglings just won purple hearts for themselves. Like, they just killed way more than they ever should have.
Yep. Mutas came back home. Petraeus looks at his army. He's like, well, you know, if you want to fight me, let's just go ahead and do it. Yeah. There's no reinforcement pylon here either, so it's going to be extremely hard for Harstem to reinforce. Not that he really has any money to reinforce, for that matter. But
this is a dead Protoss. He's getting separated here. There's no anti-air for the 1 Colossus in that part of the battle. It dies. Hydra's in the background, going to do some damage here as well. Another Colossus joins in, but keep in mind, Harstem has ease tacking out. Good game, well played is called, and Petraeus evens the score.
Man, Petraeus is really showing up today. Now, he's really done so much better than I think a lot of people expected in the past. You know, Season 2, I was pretty hyped for Petraeus. I had good hopes that he could even maybe surprise in that very tough Group D he was in back then in Season 2, round of 16. Sorry?
You know what I take away from this? And I hope everyone's listening to this broadcast. Going to school makes you a better gamer. So kids, don't do drugs, go to school, buy Blizzard games, and you too could sit across from a guy who's trying as hard as he can not to be shoved out of another tournament.
I know, Petraeus has grinded an absolute insane amount of games. And I also like what Nathaniel said, you know, like even though players like Petraeus, they go back to school, but they still play quite a bit. It's
I know.
You know,
hey man, I graduated from school. Like, if you get an English degree in particular, you should be able to play as much video games as ever before, just without your parents yelling at you, to be honest. In college. For the younger broods, you guys gotta play a little bit of soccer. You gotta mix it up a little bit. It's college where you can go full degenerate, right, Kevin?
I wish I could confirm or deny, but I do not have that academic background yet.
Well, you skipped it to just go full degenerate anyway, so about the same thing.
Alright, the final map of the day. It's been a great day of StarCraft II action. If you guys are sad that it's almost over, don't be sad, because we'll be back tomorrow, the day after, and the day after that. I could almost sing Rebecca Black Friday, just like Kevin is doing right now.
What do you think he's listening to?
Earlier today, he told me, I actually specifically asked him, I was like, what are you listening to right now to get pumped? He said, forgot about Dre.
No.
Yes, I'm not kidding.
I feel like he'd be an easy target for someone to lip read, but I am not a lip reader.
He used to sing a little bit of One Direction before he was getting into the series.
That's
but
interesting.
At the start of the day, he gets pumped by Forgot About Dre. You know, Michael Phelps also used to listen to Eminem right before he started swimming. It's the Olympic races.
Kind of a fun fact, both Michael Phelps and Harstem wear size 76 shoes.
Alright, as you guys can see, we are loaded into Terraform. The final game of the day. It's been a great day of WCS action. Let us know as well what you think about it. Hashtag WCS via the Twitter universe. And for now, we are going to introduce Harstem for the final time today, as we're looking at his beautiful red Protoss base. And he's still repping Invasion Esports. Getting himself very pumped.
I thought he was gonna sing, but it looked like he was actually about to cough. His opponent, of course, tying up the series, making it go to the last game of the day. It is Petraeus.
Maybe
is he still my insanity? I thought he actually did. He give up that stuff?
No, I think that's Kane. I think Kane
did. Yeah.
Kane moved back to school and he left. But as far as I know, Petraeus is still a proud member of my insanity. Maybe the contract still runs for a couple months. But it's also something you mentioned earlier today, Jeff. Like the final season of WCS Season 3, an important season for players, because often your contracts will end towards the end of the year. And that's like, all right, you know, did my player make it to the round of 8 or did he bomb out in the round of 32?
Exactly. And, you know, we don't talk too much about it as casters and analysts because it's actually kind of it's sad. It's actually sad. Like, what these players play for is very desperate, very intense. And WCS is really rewarding both in money and prize pool. It's so amazing that Blizzard gives that kind of support, but it also creates this atmosphere where, guys, these games super matter. Like, we were kind of joking earlier, like, Harstem's going to PAX Prime as well. Guys, make no mistake about it. He's here fighting for his career and his life. You know, like, this is what he wants to do, and he needs to do it here. It's not so simple as, like, we have it on good authority that Harstem is fired if he loses this game. No, it's not like that. But these guys get raises and lowers in their salary based on their performance in the big tournaments, and this is it.
And of course, you know, if you go to California for a month and you play in another big tournament, starting your 1 month trip off with a good result is just such a confidence booster. You're going to have so much more fun just being here and practicing when you know you advance to the round of 16 and you have that amazing tournament in Poland to look forward to. Yeah. As you know, you guys made jokes before about being turned up. Well, Poland is always turned up for some StarCraft.
And we know what for, too. Like, it's not even a question. Musically, it cannot be challenged. It's kind of a cool dichotomy we have here too. Like, Petraeus is very outspoken about taking dialing it back in his pro gaming career. I'm a student, guys. I'm going to become a real person. I travel the world, had my day, and I'm still going to keep trying, but on a lower level. Meanwhile, we have Harstem, who is a full-time pro. This is what he does. He's traveling the world as well, but this is his primary focus. And we are in the last game of Group A. It's Polt. Everyone expected that. Behind that, it's Harstem, who I think most people would have expected as well. But man, Petraeus giving a great series to Polt, and now here, after eliminating Major, by the way, he's another good player.
Very good player.
He's on the verge of possibly doing that to Harstem as well.
Yeah, it's a very big game, you know, for us and for all the fans at home. You're just sitting there, you're sitting on your couch, maybe you're eating something, you're drinking something, you're just watching a good game of StarCraft. But for these guys, there's so much on the line. It's such a big game, and just one best of one right now on Terraform will decide whether you're going to feel extremely happy or pretty damn sad and disappointed for at least the next week. Because that's in general how long it takes to recover from a big loss or a big victory like this.
Exactly. And you know what? If Petraeus wins, Kevin, I want to see you lead the charge on the famous New Zealand cheer, by the way, that everyone knows so well.
I only know the Australian one.
What's the Australian one?
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, the New Zealand one is just New Zealand, New Zealand, New Zealand. And then you say, oi, oi, oi.
I think you just made it up. I don't believe
Kevin, I would never do something like that.
Yes, you would, Jeff. You would absolutely do that. If anyone else would tell me this, I would have probably believed it.
For a second?
Yeah.
Dang it.
Like, if Letot would say something like this, I would believe it.
But you know, it's a famous cheer.
It's a famous cheer in New Zealand. It's a, oi, oi, oi. It's like, okay, Johan, I believe
He's actually, I've seen a few jokes from him. I feel like his, perhaps it's just his proximity to the hilarious Caleris lately that's gotten him a funny bone. But anyways, that's Europe, guys. You should check that out as well. Yeah, Groups E through what?
H. I only know A,
I don't
B, C,
do alphabets on air either, but they're going to be going live soon, too.
H, I was right.
And while we're getting into this game, too, guys, we, too, I mean, get comfy, because, like, today's going to be done, but we'll be back on for the next 3 days having a good time. And don't worry, we will not let Huck cast. Can we agree on that, by the way? Just never.
Huck is feeling a little bit under the weather today, of course, but we'll see plenty of him in the upcoming days. But for now, let's focus on this game as the forts are going to go down. A couple of links are trying to be annoying. So far, Harstem is doing the build. Force field, you don't want to let links into your main base. Don't lose sentry either. Look at how cautious he is with force field energy. I would have dropped 3 panic force fields there, Jab. I'm like, force field, force field, force field.
Never!
And Harstem is just like, no, actually, you know, there's nothing to worry about. I've got a wall off, I've got a second wall off. This sentry is actually going to stay alive. So
Hides all visible thing. Is it going to be a fast third, or is it going to be that push out? I mean, we as casters know it probably is this third. But, as you said, being so patient with those force fields, Harstem's in a position to constantly float over those hallucinated Phoenix, get great intel. Meanwhile, Petraeus dedicated 4 Zerglings to finding out something that he really didn't. That Overlord behind the natural doesn't see anything in particular. No tech, no lack of gases, nothing like that. And as of yet, he doesn't know about this third. So a nice little move here from Harstem so far.
Last but not least, I think it's important to mention as well that the price pool jump from being in the round of 32 or being in the round of 16 goes up by
$2,000.
$1,500. They get,
is it $1,500?
Yeah, they get $4,500 for just making it into Premier League. Of course, a lot of money. And if you make it into the round of 16, you get $6,000 guaranteed.
That's a lot of money, man.
That's $1,500 for a best of 1 on Terraform. Well, tell me you wouldn't be nervous.
I would be super nervous. And there's a lot of people watching. Matters a lot. But good intel here again from the Hallucinated Phoenix. Doesn't see any unit composition necessarily. I believe he saw the Roach Horn. I mean, it can be kind of inferred. Doesn't see the double Evo, though, and that's actually a pretty big deal. We see it as melee, and that's probably predictable if you see double Evo, but not necessarily. There's a lot of Roach, Hydra, Viper strategies going on these days as well.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit surprised by that. With the Infestation Pit going down already, that gives us the idea that once again, Petraeus just wants to do something similar to what he did on Coda. Rush up to those Ultralisks. There's some people that just hate facing these armies that consist of 12, 13, 14 sentries with Roach Hydra. And I'm a Protoss player myself, but I can't blame the Zergs because sometimes I look at games like this, like, oh god, how do you engage that? It's just like a never-ending string of force fields.
Well, to be honest, Kevin, too, there's a little bit of, I'll tell you what, Petraeus rolled the dice on some level. If Harstem, instead of adding a Robo, Twilight Council, all these things, was just adding 8 gates and just doing a gigantic Stalker Sentry timing attack, which again, Lilbo, Petit Rogue in Europe in particular have made really popular. I believe with mass 1/1 Zerglings and a few handful of Roaches, this Zerg is dead as a doornail, but he's hoping that that's not the case. Now, we do see Harstem moving out here, but I don't think it's a super heavy attack.
To Petraeus' defense, he has been very active with units. He has been scouting, and even though he only has 5 Roaches now, he's going to try to ambush these sentries.
But I mean, it's an ambush of what?
Of an ambush. He comes out of the bushes.
Yeah, he literally did, by the way.
It's a double
but it's like
ambush.
a pack of bears coming out of the bushes, terrifying, but this was literally a single panda.
Pandas can be quite fierce.
They can, but not I don't know about
Anyway, the point I was trying to make is that Petraeus did have the Roach Warren and he was active with the units. So he could always fire up more Roaches if he has to. He rather doesn't, but if he has to, he will. And that's
6 Infestors, though. He's trying to buy time. If they can get out, they can hit an amazing fungal growth chain on those sentries. If you lose all those sentries in your Harstem, you're not happy. You're sad. And if you lose the Mothership Core, it's move forward. He really can't lose the Mothership Core. It's actually so crazy how important that Mothership Core is right now. He has to recall out.
Well, these are pushes that, like, often you see Lilbal just straight up win the game with. And with, that second pylon, even though he cancelled one of the pylons. Like this, Harstem is pretty damn committed to this. Yes, he's on 72 workers. Yes, he has +2 and Blink on the way, but he wants to do some serious work with
everybody.
Yeah, just recall out right now.
He will.
You're playing with fire, Harstem. You need to recall immediately.
Oh, the one stalker didn't get the memo.
One sentry.
I'll tell you what, advantage Petraeus. Kevin, I agree with you on all accounts. Like those are the kind of attacks he wins with. But Petraeus is playing a different game. Like instead of just piling on the Roach Hydra and uselessly slamming up against the force fields, he's going Infestors, and it gives him so much strength. Now, as I say that, if he overextends into Blink Stalkers, this fight turns south on him real quick, and he's dead.
I wouldn't go off creep this far running into a Protoss army that's very well spread out.
He needs to back up.
Because then suddenly it doesn't matter anymore what the sentries do, it matters much more what the stalkers are doing.
See? He tried to set up like a multi-angle attack, but that's like, it was 8 Roaches and 9 Zerglings, like they died for free. They were just found and dead.
But, Hive halfway done. This is Warp Prism heading towards the main base.
It's good that he saw this. In the past, this Warp Prism attack has done so much damage to him, it's been kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, he could kind of use maybe...
Stalkers, what?
Well, I mean, against a couple Zealots, why not? He doesn't have charge yet, so Zealots would be very bad against those Roaches.
Yeah.
You can always pick up the Stalkers.
Like that, Kevin. You're like the defender of bad decisions.
I mean, it's only a bad decision if he ends up losing all 3 Stalkers.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Whiffed on the fungal there. Oh, he has Burrow and Burrow movement. Okay, but be careful, you still don't have that much.
He absolutely did, by the way. He lost all 3 Stalkers. But that's because he was probably prioritizing this fight on the right top side of the map.
Which, to be fair, I mean,
it's probably a good decision.
Imagine the Mothership Core die, or like, oh god, the best mind control ever. Like, he grabs it,
Oh, burrowed roaches on top of the sentry. Some really cute plays over here by Petraeus.
And he can't, he's fungled in. He actually can't recall out over here. This is terrible for Harstem. He's losing everything. He's lost all the sentries. No, Kevin.
Don't underestimate Blink Stalkers, Jeff.
Well, I was ready to just, I got really excited there for a second.
Marish, of course, outside. But now I think Harstem should be very careful, though.
A fungal.
Like, yeah, one fungal on creep. Every fungal guarantees like 3, 4, 5 dead Stalkers. But there are no fungals, but there are so many Lings, though. And on creep, you want to be very careful over here, Harstem. You're playing with fire. Petraeus is maxed out, and he has pretty decent upgrades as well. He has 2-2 on these Lings against
deadly.
Stalkers. Have to go back, man.
This is not a good fight for Harstem. You can blink back as beautifully as you want. I do not understand why Petraeus is afraid of this tipping over. It's getting closer to him having fungals, by the way.
Imagine if he sends a couple of Lings via the north side through those side blockers, and he would have came in from behind. If you wrap around those Stalkers, all of those Stalkers will die. Harstem is playing an extremely risky game over here, but so far so good, as he will be able to take out this base.
Petraeus is respecting the crap out of it, though. I think he knows that that base doesn't super matter, and losing all of the infestors would actually lose him the game, which I think he's worried about. Oh, he's at Hive Tech, by the way, so Ultra's coming out, but I think even more importantly is Adrenal Gland upgrades for these Zerglings.
Yeah, and also Temple Archon is already going down, though, for Harstem. So Harstem is thinking about this, but he was very committed to killing that fort base. It was almost a do-or-die scenario, and I really think Petraeus could have set up a sick flank, because he was maxed out on a certain point against 160 supply of Stalkers.
Now, Kevin, I want to ask you something here.
Go ahead.
Storm coming in as well as Immortals. Obviously, both these things are very nice, but on 3-base economy, he's not going to have any more sentries.
Sentries are non-important.
Yeah, Ultra's coming out, not a big deal. But even the Templar, he's going to have like 2 Templar, right?
I often think like that as well, but then you'll see that after a minute or two, then suddenly he has gas for an Archon or 2. He has gas for a couple Storms, and you know, that's the double block. This is where you keep on clicking.
Everyone's talked about this before, but the idea of like a probe coming over.
Look where the Observer is. The Observer is so far out of position. Do you know how mad this, how annoying this is?
I love that though, and it's like
kill the Observer, the only Observer on the map.
Antaro a Dune probe. Why have you not built the Nexus? Yep. I don't know. I think there might be a Zergling underneath this. It's not possible. And Tassadar.
Click again.
I literally can't lay this giant pyramid on the head of a dog. I won't do it. Frankly, this is not going to work. There's a cannon. And by the way, you're right. I mean, look, I was like, here's going to have 2 Templar. There's like 50,000 of them over there.
The number goes up very quick. Like in if you need something within 20 seconds, then often you have to think about it. But you know, in a game like this where you know Petraeus is going to give you your time most likely anyway.
He's trying to lose the roaches. Actually, what's happening? He wants to free up supply. Okay, I understand now.
Yeah, if he can actually kill both Immortals, I think. Because Immortals,
both,
well,
one.
I mean,
and then he mistargeted like a million times.
Exactly.
Get the one at least. Come on, there you go. Worth it.
Look at that one Zealot holding the fort against that other road.
Absolutely.
He's like left, right, left, right.
He'll be fitted for a Dragoon with more behavior like that.
It's like I've been to the gym. Look at my shoulders. They're so broad.
Get this man the medal. Random Queen out there. Not sure what's happening there, but it's okay.
Had a lot of energy.
Petraeus looking to trade out these roaches. He doesn't want to just give them away, though.
You always want to trade them out.
Trade it for something.
Maybe a couple of high Templars with a lot of energy.
Even time is a resource. It's kind of nice that he's like occupying his attention this whole time. Oh, that abduct.
Great Aspire.
It actually,
this is what we talked about on Coda. And this is what he didn't do on Coda.
Yeah.
Just
big fight possibly. Over here, down at the base, a couple of storms going down.
I'm not super impressed with that army of Harstem.
No.
It doesn't look, you know...
Petraeus gonna respect it. Backs away. Probably the best choice. Guys, this is an elimination match. One bad fight, you're going home. Oh, the Templar got a little bit brave.
Looking for a feedback. A massive link counter. Is there anything on the left bottom side? Yes, there is.
Chasing.
I don't know why he didn't want to fight on creep, but wants to fight off creep.
Take this for... Oh, great counter. Just the one cannon there. Yep. And actually, without the control, though... Okay, now he's coming to control this. The Zealots are going to get surrounded. The one cannon just does not have the DPS to defend this out.
Those links are so strong. They don't even have that also important Adrenal Gland upgrade yet.
Gets a lot of probes in the back end, too. Good hold position.
14 workers dying. Meanwhile, there are Zealots harassing on the right top side as well. Man, this is becoming a very, very entertaining game. An excellent way to close out day 1 of WCS Season 3. With just a lot of stuff dying all over the place, the way that StarCraft II is meant to be played.
Absolutely. And I'm looking at a lot of corruptors coming out. 2,000 gas stockpiled.
The accidental swarm wells, Jeff. It's coming as that hatchery does get picked off. What do you think he's going to do?
I love it. It's so classic.
Yeah. The accidental swarm.
I liked it even more before the change to the swarm host, where they just kind of like dribbled out The accidental one would just have like 2 little locusts marching around every once in a while.
Ends the game with like 17 kills in the middle line. It's like, yeah, that happened.
They're not accidental at all. They're strategic. Gonna have to cancel his base. Don't bleed forward. Does cancel. And again, Petraeus put in that tough spot where it's like, yeah, okay, Petraeus, you're getting the super army.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're having a tough time securing money. No bank for him.
This time, however, though, Broodlords are out a lot quicker. And are there Stargates? No, there's not a single Stargate on the map. There's absolutely no fleet beacon. Well, the moment I say it, 2 Stargates will be wiped in.
But when you did say it, Kevin.
Yeah, I was
right.
Technically correct.
You were, and that's important. We fight for that. There's the 2 locusts, by the way.
I mean, this is Petraeus' moment. Like, we can joke all we want, but this is where he just wants to run across the map, ignore these zealots, ignore losing bases. Don't give him time to get an answer against your Broodlords. Right now, your Broodlords are absolutely phenomenal against every single unit that Harstem has. Oh my god, I'm worried for Harstem, man. Like how long can you run away?
He can't fight it. He has to counterattack, Kevin. He's doing it. He did. The Zealots killed top right. There was a War Prism making its way into the main. I do believe Petraeus has a forest of Spine Crawlers in the main, though, so I don't see it doing a whole...
Tiny forest.
Well, it's a little...
it's a
little bushel.
forest.
It's a bushel of Spine Crawlers. A forest of
you made it sound like it was the Amazonas, you know? It's
kind of
in Brazil. I was like, man, this is going to be quite the sight, but...
Nope. Zergling's coming out. Petraeus committed, though. He's off creep. And he's going to go after the right base, but it's going to be a base trade, man, and this is going to get super intense.
I'm very happy to see Harstem doing this, though, because sitting at home with your Archers and Immortals against Broodlords, you may as well just tap out on that point, because they're not going to do anything.
Okay, so he kills the new base, which is actually a pretty good move. And you know what? It comes down to the Mothership Core. If he can kill the Mothership Core, he needs to abduct it and snipe the Mothership Core.
Well, here we go. Corruptors are over here. He's going to abduct it.
You have to kill the Mothership Core. Kevin's not paying attention.
He doesn't even have to abduct it.
Well, he doesn't. It just dies.
He just lets it die.
All of a sudden, I mean, if that catches up to him and fungals that army, it's gone, baby, gone.
Yep. Well, Infestors are coming in from the south side. Harstem is like, well, I know I'm in trouble over here, so let's just get a couple drone kills at first. Lance a feedback or 2 as well. Where are the Broodlords? They should be getting close. I know they're slow, but...
They're coming in.
During all this, 3 Tempests on the way, by the way, but just Tempest, if you lose your entire ground force, that's also not good anymore. Like, oh my god, Harstem losing the Mothership Core like that was an absolutely crucial mistake.
Forward, but he immediately regrets it. There's just nothing he can do.
Lightning Cloud is going to go down, and Petraeus seems to be in a phenomenal position, perhaps against all odds, to advance from this group. Doesn't live the pro game alive anymore, but he has played one hell of a day of StarCraft II. Harstem is, of course, not just going to tap out just yet. He has money in the bank. He's sniping off a couple Broodlords, tries to get out with a few Immortals, even just a couple. An Archon and 3 Immortals is still better than losing everything. Oh, look at the Zerglings coming in.
Beautiful.
And everything is going to die. This entire army has died
60
in the
supply.
end.
Now look at this. Petraeus is barely mining, guys. He's got 48 workers, but they ain't doing much. They're like long distance mining. 2 bases are going down. The gold is the big one there. And this army's marching forward. Now, Harstem's got 4 Templar and a building number of Tempest, but as you said, by themselves for the most part?
Right now, just 3 Tempests against 6 Corruptors. Okay, 6 Tempests soon and a Void Ray. 6 Tempests and a Void Ray, I'm starting to believe. Especially because he still has money in the bank. Don't
fight here! Don't get fungled! Do not get fungled over those guys. Oh god.
I mean, the Infested Terrans are probably the least of his worries, but it's more that right now he shouldn't fight the Corruptors.
I actually, by the way, again, do not like the choice to fight here for Petraeus. Like, go fight at the 1 mining base where maybe you lose your army, but as long as you kill that expansion, the damage is done. If you lose your army here, it's over.
Oh god, 2 Tempests do get fungled though, and that's terrible news for Harstem. Does land a good juicy storm on the Corruptors. Another storm goes down. This is starting to get pretty damn close, but the fungo grow. Oh my god, the blinding clouds as well. You know, everything is just going to die, and Harstem will tap out. Petraeus advances to the round of 16 for the 2nd season in a row.
This guy came in and he impressed. He put up a great series against Polt in a ZVT matchup, one that Polt has been struggling a little bit in, but still has been taking down the Zergs, and he impresses. Goes into this match after defeating Major, stands toe-to-toe with Harstem, who is, by the way, still one of the absolute best European Protosses, especially in the PvZ matchup. And this guy topples him in an epic best-of-3, by the way. Goes all the way to the limit. Great job.
I mean, like all 3 games were extremely entertaining. A Dash Terminal maybe for different reasons than Coda and Terraform, but all very entertaining games regardless. And I really like the approach that Petraeus had all along. It's like, you're going to do this Blink Stalker Sentry style that so many European Protosses are doing. Well, this is how I deal with it. And you mentioned it as well. Like, is this always the best idea? Like, well, it definitely has a couple weaknesses against some crazy all-ins maybe. But if the games just play out the way they do, I really love the way that Petraeus handled this strategy. A strategy that a lot of Zerg players complain about quite a bit.
And, you know, we were building up the importance of this for Harstem, and we're not going to shy away from it. It is important, but he is staying for PAX Prime, and of course, there'll be other tournaments for him as well, so look forward to seeing more Harstem. But on this day, Polt, as expected, Petraeus with a pretty big upset, and congrats to him as well. Like, it's just so cool that he came all the way from New Zealand. This is a guy that's lived in Europe in the My Insanity house and has lived with Root for a period of time as well.
He's been in both team houses. He's been in North America. He's
trying
been
to make
in
it
Europe.
work.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's done it. So that's awesome for him. Round of 16, we will see him in Poland. And I believe we're actually going to head over to a winner's interview. I think they have successfully set that up, if I'm correct.
Yes, you are. Here we are. Of course, the man who has gone back to school, but today you're the one who took other players to school going to the round of 16. First of all, I want to ask, how does it, when everyone's like, oh, well, it's a bit of an upset. Obviously, we know Petraeus, you know, he's playing well, but we just didn't expect you to do this well. How does that feel for you? Are you a little bit in disbelief, too, about the results? Or are you like, well, I knew coming in that I would go to the round of 16?
Yeah, looking at the group, I definitely thought it was one of the harder ones, if not the hardest ones. I knew I could beat Major, but that was actually much closer than expected. But I wasn't actually feeling very confident against Polt or Harstem. I thought they would both beat me quite easily. But I surprised myself making it closer versus Polt than I thought. And yeah, I guess that gave me a little bit more confidence going against Harstem. And yeah, just really happy to make it through.
Yeah, I want to touch on that overall, and you were just talking about how that match against Polt gave you a confidence boost in general. And we were speculating overall, as we take a look at, of course, the very last map here against Harstem. Are you a little bit more relaxed in some senses because you feel that there's less pressure on you because you're not going the full, you know, the full-time program in life anymore? Or in some ways, is it a little bit more nerve-wracking because you're not as confident in where you stand when you come into the tournament?
Yeah, just addressing the full-time thing. Like, what you saw from me today, that's the work I've put in over the last year and a half.
Right.
So I realized that there's a huge amount of emphasis put on full-time and part-time players in the scene, but really, like, if you're just going into part-time, it's not going to affect you. Like, I came here at the and as a full-time player, basically. Like,
right.
I should expect from myself the same that everyone else should. And yeah, I would say it's going to take a few months before that's going to kick in.
Before it kicks in, yeah. Because you've
built
built up something so far coming into this tournament, so it's not like an immediate effect. Like, oh, well, went part-time, there go my skills. Like, you've built something up for a year and a half. Yeah, well, that's good to hear, man. I mean, definitely congratulations moving on as the second seed. Of course, but like you said, I mean, all the matches were pretty close, right? You said, you know, even the match against Major, it's a little bit closer than you thought. At the same time, against Polt, did a little bit better than you would have imagined, and then we went into the match against Harstem. How did you view that match, Nate?
I mean, I thought this was like a really entertaining one, especially after the 1-0. You know, we can see, you know, I was watching backstage with you guys, and like, just how many Hydras would you be able to get out to stop this? And that was what I wanted to ask you, actually, Petraeus. Like, you could have been eliminated off of a weird build that Harstem may have had prepared for this map. Like, what was going through like your head? Like, what was your veto process that allowed Dash and Terminal to beat a pick?
Yeah, early on, I hated this map in every matchup, and I was tempted to veto it against everyone. But against Protoss, I've been doing this build pretty much every game where I just take the gold and I make a bunch, 20, 30 speed lanes, and just try to get damage done, because it's a really awkward wall-off for the Protoss. They've got 2 fronts to cover, and I don't think it's even a matter of you know, them just picking something that will counter that. Like, I feel in any situation I can get damage done. So, yeah, in this, if he went for any build, I still feel I was in a very comfortable position just because the early on damage.
All right, well, sounds good. Yeah, there was a lot of talk among that, too, of course, the map. Everyone's like, Dash and Terminal, what's going on here? Why did Harstem pick this map? But obviously, you pulled through on that one, gave you enough momentum to go through on Game 3. So what's the outlook for you, man? Coming back, a repeat for round of 16, of course, in Season 2. I mean, I remember, you know, talking to you there, and you looked a little bit nervous and whatnot in Toronto, but how are you feeling this time making it now to Poland again? Are you looking forward to it? Are you excited? Or are you like, all right, well, gotta train more? What's your thought process here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad for the opportunity. I don't have any expectations just like this, basically. I'm just hoping to have
just playing
good
some
time,
StarCraft.
play some StarCraft, yeah.
Sounds awesome, man. Well, once again, congratulations. Moving on in second seed from Group A. Of course, Polt moving on forward. Ladies and gentlemen, Polt and Petraeus will be your advancers from Group A. Let's take a look on how all that happened here on day one as we kick off Season 3 of the WCS Premier League. Harstem Major kicking it off, of course, and then Polt and Petraeus. That was kind of the big match in the very beginning. Petraeus pulling through in a 2-1. It took one map off Polt, but Polt moves on and then cruises forward as most people would have expected him to. And of course, the man we just spoke to, Petraeus, coming through, taking down Harstem. Nate, a successful start to Season 3. You know, a little bit of a twist already in Group A. What's your expectations going forward? Are you excited? Has this kind of surged the expectations a little bit more for the other groups?
I'm amped up. I mean, this was a more Terran heavy group, and as a Terran, of course, I got my fix here. But the results were interesting enough for me. I didn't actually think we'd be getting into like Mothership, Tempest, PvZ.
Yeah.
And to be honest, now that you said it, now that I guess Petraeus brought it up, you know, the actual performance of him, especially against Polt, I was watching this series, was like, it doesn't look like he's barely playing the game if he's really trading blow for blow like this. So I've been satisfied so far, and the rest of the groups are pretty balanced matchup-wise. So I'm excited the whole way through.
Yeah, should be good. Once again, we have 3 more days. Everyone watching at home, those of you guys who got to visit us in the studio, 3 more days against Group B through D, remaining already 2 players in the round of 16. We'll find out in the rest of the weekend who else gets to join us in the round of 16 in Poland. For now, this was day 1 of the WCS Premier League.